Hey friends, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. The latest book in a series that I very much enjoy, the Bess Crawford series by Charles Todd, recently came out, and so I thought that it would be a good idea to go to the bookstore and get it, and bring you along with me to do a bookstore vlog. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. But before we get into that, I do have a few announcements to make. The first is that I am now on Facebook, so if you don't follow me over there and that's something that you'd be interested in, I do have a Facebook account. The link is in the description box down below, and if you don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you are missing out because I just did a big announcement over there where I revealed the title of my forthcoming book, which is Lightbringer. I can finally share some of the details of this book with you, and I can't wait for it to come out and for you to be able to hold it in your hands. This upcoming Tuesday, I will be revealing the official blurb, and then the Tuesday after that will be the cover reveal as well as the pre-order announcement / link. So all of that stuff will be announced at the same time. So if you're interested in checking the book out, I would very much appreciate it. So stay tuned for all of that because it's coming very soon and more will be revealed when we get there. But for now, let's go to the bookstore. So, as previously stated, my initial intention for going to the bookstore today was to get The Cliff's Edge by Charles Todd, which is the latest in the Bess Crawford mystery series that I very much enjoy and follow. I have all of them. You can probably see some of them behind me on the shelf here. And so this is what I came for, basically, and I'm very happy that they had it. And I thought while I was there I would look for a few other books, namely some of the William Monk books by Anne Perry that I don't already have. And I was surprised because they they didn't have any. And so I didn't get any of those, and then I thought, well, I don't have all of Ashley Weaver's Amory Ames series, and I really enjoyed that. I've already read them all, and I would like to have them all on my shelf, but they didn't have any of those either. I was actually really surprised. Like, they had some Anne Perry books, mostly her newest series that is currently ongoing, and I realized that the William Monk books are not currently being written, but the shelf life was really bad. And so that just sort of reinforces my personal decision to self-publish, because when your books are on Amazon or other online retailers, you don't have a shelf life. Your book may never appear in a physical bookstore, but it also will never disappear. And I guess it's just because the Monk books are not being written anymore, and neither are the Charlotte and Thomas Pitt books, but I'm just consistently surprised and disappointed that bookstores don't carry the very first book in a series. I think it would be difficult to bring in new readers to your series if you don't have the first book, because they're not going to start reading the series on book 10, I wouldn't imagine. At least I hope not. But so the other two things that I went for are unsuccessful, but I'm glad that they had at least the book that I had come for. And I will have to go back to the bookstore probably at the end of April, because there are two other books that I want to buy, and rather than check out from the library, that I hope that they will have, but they're not out yet, so I was not able to get them. I did allow myself to take a chance on two books that I came across, mostly because they just sounded that interesting to me, and also because the other books that I came for did not happen. And one of those is The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. This was just sitting on a table of other 50% off books. I really wish they wouldn't put these stickers on there because they're a pain to get off, but it sounded interesting. It's a fantasy novel about people who build ships out of dragon bones, and dragons have gone missing, and so then there's this recent sighting of the first dragon in who knows how long. So that interested me. It's got ships, which I find interesting, and dragons as well. Dragons are always a win with me. So hopefully this will be really good. I'm a bit nervous because I didn't plan on picking this book up, and it is, I think, an epic fantasy, which is not my genre, but surely sooner or later I'm going to have to come across one that I enjoy. There were a few other books I found there that sounded interesting, but I was not going to allow myself to buy them because I would buy the entire store if I did that, and it used to be that I didn't deny myself anything. If I found a book that sounded interesting, heck yeah, I'd buy it, but I either then didn't get around to reading those books and they just sat on my shelf for so long that I decided I wasn't interested anymore, or they were not as good as I had hoped they would be. So no, I limited myself to taking a chance at only two, and this was one of them. The other book was A Broken Blade by Melissa Blair. This is a lady thief assassin, which is a thing that I'm always kind of a sucker for when it comes to books, but I don't think it's necessarily done well most of the time. Now, reading the blurb for this, it does have fae in it, and obviously it says the Halfling Saga, which makes me think that there is somebody, probably the main character, who is half fae. I'm not super excited about that just because, while I have nothing against the fae personally, every time I've seen it portrayed, it's not always the best, but I will give it a try. Both this one and The Bone Ships had relatively high average star ratings on Goodreads, so that gives me hope that these will not disappoint, but we will have to see. So that is all I have for this little bookstore excursion. I don't think this vlog is going to be particularly long. The only other update that I have for me, what I have going on other than the soon-to-be release of my very first book, is that I'm currently drafting the 12th mystery in my Victorian mystery series, and I'm doing this thing where I'm obsessing over word count. I don't necessarily think that my outline is long enough to support the word count that I want, and I know that when you're self-publishing, word count doesn't matter so much, but it sort of kind of does. I want a book to be a certain length, I want it to be long enough, and while I do think this mystery is good and it's compelling and complicated enough, I don't necessarily think that it's going to be long enough. It's not going to be as long as I want it to be, but I am enjoying what I'm writing, so there's that, and that should count for something, and I think it probably does. So I will see what I can do to fix this problem. It could very well be that the beginning of the book is just that much shorter than when things really get going, but I'm also trying to tell myself that it doesn't matter. This is the 12th book in the entire series, and I am not publishing that right now. This book that I have coming out, Lightbringer, is not a Victorian mystery. It is a YA fantasy novel, so it doesn't really matter. This first draft would see the light of day anyway, and I can always rewrite it, and usually when I rewrite books they get longer, so I'm trying to tell myself it's fine, just enjoy the process, and that's how that's going right now. So because I am drafting a mystery, most of what I'm reading right now is mysteries or historical fiction. I don't think that I necessarily have to read this while I write this particular genre. It's just something that I like to do. So I don't know when I'll get around to reading these fantasy books that I picked up at the bookstore, but I do plan on reading The Cliff's Edge very soon. I'm currently reading Under a Veiled Moon by Karen Auden, which is the second book in the Michael Corrigan series that I read the first book last year, and I enjoyed it. I'm not enjoying this one as much, at least not that I remember. It seems a bit slow, but it's good enough. I'm enjoying it. I like it. And then after that, I have to read Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless, which is an absolute great title. It's really fun to say. This is a fantasy book, I think, that takes place in medieval Ireland or some sort of ancient Ireland time period. It's got a mix of historical elements and fantasy as well. And this is a book that I requested 2 months ago, over 2 months ago actually. And I was like, I don't know what's taking these libraries so long. I don't know if I'm ever going to get this book. I don't know if I don't know when I will get it. And I honestly thought that I was going to have to buy a copy of this book, and I thought that I would look for it at the bookstore, but then all of a sudden the library has shipped a copy of it out to me and I have it. And so this is a fantasy, historical-ish fantasy, and it's not what I would typically want to be reading while I'm writing a mystery novel, but it is what it is. I only have a certain amount of time to have it, and I do want to read it, so I will get that read after I finish Under a Veiled Moon, and then once Children of Gods and Fighting Men is finished, then I will read The Cliff's Edge. But yeah, that is all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you haven't already and you're interested in updates about the book, Lightbringer, my book, you can follow me on social media where more will be released there. And then of course I will do a video on this channel talking all about the book and what you can expect from it. And yeah, I'm just really excited to have this so close to finally being a reality, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!